Hello, it's Devin here, and today my son and I played the alpha rules for Dungeon Saga. We started with the first tutorial scenario, Journey from the West. This scenario is really based around combat, and it focuses on two characters, the dwarf and the barbarian. We used Gimli for the dwarf and Boromir for the barbarian, and some other Lord of the Rings miniatures, some orcs there for skeletons. My son was quite aggressive in this scenario, charging up the hallway very quickly, and engaging the skeletons and destroying them pretty much everywhere he could. He was rolling very well, and not leaving any bone piles, which really limited my option as a necromancer. You can see here, when I thought I rolled well, he rolled extremely well, and that was sort of the theme for the afternoon. We played through all the different mechanics. We were picking them up pretty quickly. My son picked them up quite quickly as well, especially the basics of the combat. We had a lot of fun. We learned a lot about the balance of the game. Moving on to the second tutorial here, which was Journey from the East. This is really focusing on the magic and the shooting, but the magic side of it seems a bit strange because you're just standing there with your wizard casting spells at the door. We used Gandalf and Legolas. I also added up some dungeon walls for my son, just so we could help him with the line of sight concept, because you end up with, to start with anyway, with a lot of skeletons hidden behind the walls, and he wanted to shoot them, so I found my old dungeon walls, put them up. So if anyone wants to know how I made them, they're pretty easy. It's polystyrene bricks. So as we played through this scenario, he was pretty aggressive and really played with the line of sight. Actually, I found that was the most useful thing that came out of this one for my son, and these kind of games where you really need to understand line of sight. But most of the time, every round, except for one where he decided to actually cast some other spells with the wizard, it was really just optimal to sit there and cast a spell on the door to break the enchantment. He had to do that 5 times to win the game, or win the scenario I should say, and he did that. We moved on to scenario 1. Now this is the first proper scenario. You get to use all the characters at once, introduces zombies as well, and some tougher creatures, and the first layout is quite aggressive. The 10-cent pieces there are the bone piles, and the 5-cent pieces represent the locked doors. But he was very aggressive in this, moving up very quickly, but it really showed that I think there's potentially an imbalance at the moment in the game. The dwarf is much stronger than the barbarian. His 5 dice and his armor 4 really just show up the barbarian pretty much at every turn. I don't know, we've got to play it a few more times. You could see that, well, that's just what it felt like anyway as we were playing. The elf and the wizard are pretty well balanced in how they work. It wasn't clear about the ranges in the game, like the distances. There's like a short range and a long range, and that's not really detailed if there's a difference between them for shooting. Different spells have short range and long range, but in the alpha rules it's not even explained how long they are. So based on what I could see, it was short range is about 4 squares and long range is 8, so we made up some measuring sticks that were 100mm long and 200mm long, and that seemed to work well with the game. We had a lot of fun. I'm really interested to see how they're going to add advancement into the characters in these rules. Again, the dwarf shows that I'm not sure how you add more to the dwarf. But yeah, we had a lot of fun, and can't wait to see what else comes out of the Kickstarter. So you guys have fun, and I'll talk to you next time.